One of the great strengths of what we have is the camaraderie, and nothing has been more apparent in the last 2 to 3 weeks around the support and friendship we have with one another, and the fact that we were able to have some good, robust debates in order to ensure that we go forward a lot stronger and more positively. What has come out of those debates so far is the need for clarity and the need for a plan about what we're doing and what you're doing, and that has taken us a little bit of time to just work through those things. It could have been easy just to knee-jerk into stuff and do lots of random things left, right and centre, but you will know that isn't my style, and you will know that I am a bit of a reflector. I do think about stuff. And so I'm pleased to say that we have now developed a plan. Over the weekend we've been working hard on it, and which I'd like to share with you, which is really in 3 stages. So it's all about our general strategy overall and how we see the world and how we see things progressing. And then secondly, it's about what we're going to do from the centre with limited resources, limited time, limited budget. And then what you can do as a CXD, what activities you can do, which aren't going to cost you anything to do, but they're going to ensure that you come out as a local brand a lot bigger and stronger, and as an overall brand we come out a lot bigger and stronger. But we're only as good as the parts, and we all need to do it. 60% of us doing it isn't good enough, 90% of us doing it isn't good enough. We all need to do it, because that's why we're here, that's what we're all bought in for, that's what we've all invested in. And then the final part of the plan is the communication piece, so how things are going to be communicated. So I hope you enjoy it. Please do come back to me with any questions you might have. I'll talk for about 25 minutes, and I go through the document page by page. The document will also be available as well, which I'll put in Trello, so you're able to see it. And enjoy. And hopefully I'll speak to you soon, and look forward to any feedback that you might have. Thank you. So this is the plan, and it's a 90-day working plan around how we manoeuvre ourselves through this very difficult period of time. But it's optimistic and it's positive, and I think it allows us to tidy up the things that we all need to do to move forward in a much stronger place. This is a marathon, it's not a sprint, and we should be like a wound up tortoise and not the hare. So you can see it already, companies that have gone off at a huge pace, loads of activity, they're not going to last the pace, because first of all, it's a lot of energy. Secondly, at the moment, not huge amounts of people listening. And thirdly, it eats up cash. And what's going to survive is the cash. The businesses with some cash are the ones that are going to get through. Now, there are 6 reasons why we believe this is the case. The first one is that very few people will actually remember prior to the peak of the crisis. So some people have gone a bit balmy at the moment. They're getting out there, putting out webinars and all these things. That's fine. But that's totally going to be overtaken and shadowed by this huge mountain that is about to start in the next 2 to 3 weeks, where personal priorities and thoughts will become the requirement, and because of local family tragedies that will undoubtedly happen. We've got a friend of a friend who's 62 and he died last week. I didn't know him very well, but he was 62 and fit, and he died within 2 days of being admitted to hospital. The people all around him in business are shell-shocked, and they're considering and thinking about that. That's obviously going to escalate. So we need to be mindful of that and caring about that. Second thing is, this could last 6 months, it could possibly be 9 to 12 months. And the business recovery then begins. So you can't go too early on this stuff. You need to be careful. You need to pace yourself like the marathon. It's not a sprint. And as we do as a brand. There's only a certain amount of cash we have. So we don't have, millionaires' safes. We have cash, but we don't want to spend it all in the first half of this crisis. We need to be very careful. And we are retaining Helen's services to a lesser degree, but we are retaining them. I know a lot of people have cut out all marketing. We're not going to do that. But we need to time our run, and we need to time the cash. So we're not leaving us very vulnerable right at the end when the fight back happens, and when you're all saying, come on, we need to be doing this, we need to be doing that. We need to make sure centrally we're preserving our cash. And of course, the same applies with our clients. They need to ensure they're preserving their cash at the moment. So what we can do is gentle tip-tap stuff that just reminds them of us. But again, it's all about the cash, and we are no different centrally to any other business. This could go on for 12 months. And then we're going to need some marketing to put together all the really great work we've done over the 12 months, which we're obviously starting to work on now. And that needs cash, so we need to be careful. We need to have reflective planning, and we need to watch others to see what works. I've seen some big mistakes already made, and I've seen some really successful stuff. But a majority of stuff out there is noise, which is people don't really know what they're doing. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm sure you don't really know what you're doing. It's we've never been here before. We don't know, and it's best sometimes just to step back and just watch what people are doing. I've seen far too many people talk about themselves, and this is my point 6 here actually. Far too many people doing sort of calendars of their day and how many hours they sleep and etc. etc. You know what? I don't really give a toss about that. I care about my business, and I care about caring for my clients' businesses. My clients don't want to know about my life. They want to know what I'm going to do to help them. And I think there is this, some people just have this incredible fascination about themselves to such an extent that they forget the reason why they're here. And we need to be, again, very careful. We need to watch what happens, and we need to be very careful about what it is about them, our clients, that we need to position in front of them, and we need to do that carefully. And going back to point 5, there will be many opportunities that will lie within and post the chaos. So, and again, we need to pick through that. Now, that could be our competitors. It could be new product opportunities. It could be doing better what we have. But we don't know what they are yet. And so to run away in a sprint would be the wrong thing at the moment. We just need to take stock until we are where we need to be. And to help do that and to give it some stage thinking, I've kind of come up with 4 different stages. The first stage, which is where the big blue arrow is and therefore where we're at, is the realisation. And this is where we and other businesses are trying to grapple with the new world. The legislation, the money, the relationships. Much of the stuff the government has said still isn't clear. And it isn't really their fault. It's a massive problem. But we're still grappling, I'm still grappling, with a lot of the very fine detail about what they're saying. So one day in the future it doesn't come back and bite me on the backside. So realisation is one thing, and we're not there yet. We're still all trying to realise where we are. We're trying to understand and grab hold of it. And then that will move to the personal cost. So this is where we start realising the cost of a crisis on us personally. Now that could be through loved ones, it could be through friends, it could be watching people who work in the NHS, it could be the personal consequence of what is going on. And that obviously leads to other personal costs as far as finance is concerned, and able to carry on, able to find the cash to buy the food, all those sorts of things. And it all starts from how you are personally. So if people are desperately without money, or if people are worried about their business or their clients, then that will lead to how they look upon their business. And we've all said it in the last 2 weeks. We can feel up in the morning, down in the afternoon, and we need to do things to get a sense of perspective. And the third thing is decision making. So we come past that awful problem where we know how many victims there have been, and it's starting to calm down, and maybe we're allowed out of our houses. Maybe we can have a drink or a coffee or something like that. You never know. Remember that world? And then we start making really good and we clarify decisions. So then we're understanding what new business is thinking. What are they looking for? What support do they need? We can only second guess at the moment. And then we have to identify the priorities as a business. And it could well be that businesses become more humane, more human, and they require and want a better CX approach. They will learn such a lot about how well or how poorly they've communicated to their clients and their team throughout this. And that, I think, is our biggest opportunity. And the love we show now to our clients, us putting our arms around our clients now and just doing the little things, when they start doing that at the other end of this, we will be in the forefront of their mind. And then finally, the new world. Some say it will stay the same. Some say it will change. Some people say things like, it will never be the same again. Well, I'm afraid it will be. I mean, there will be changes inevitably. And as a brand, and what we have to offer will change a bit, 20, 30% probably, in my view. But people do generally go back to where they were and where they were at. not everybody's going to continue working from home, because as humans we like the sociability, we like travelling, we like going to work, we enjoy the routine, the structure, the team camaraderie. So for people saying, oh, this is going to change the way we work and offices, I don't think it is. But I think culturally it could change things. It could make businesses become, as I said, a little bit human and want to get a bit more close and more care into their customers, because they are seeing the consequences of good and bad CX during this journey. And they'll make sure they want to future-proof in the future to ensure that they don't make those same mistakes again. That's the overall bit. So what's the plan of action up to stage 3? So stage 3 is the decision-making piece. So nationally, these are the things we're doing. So I think this is what came out of last week's call. It's all about real clarity. And to be honest, I've had to clarify myself to get the clarity to get to this point. It's not, it is different, and we just need to do things really well consistently. And this is what this document is all about. So our strategy is all around surveys. So why we do those is there. I won't go through every single point of this. You can read this in your own time. But this is to help our clients understand where their teams are at. And that is going well. We've started that. We've got a second one about to go out. We're developing a leaders one. It's all on Trello. You can give your comment. So it's getting a really good bit of energy. We want to be able to rotate that data back through to the next week into blogs and actions and tips. And during that journey, people will see, actually, these guys kind of know what they're talking about. And they're getting some real live data. Another thing we'll be doing there, and this is something that Paul Matthews has talked about a lot, is using our researchers to see how they feel, because they're human, they're normal, and we've got a lot of them. So we'll start doing surveys with them, and we'll start using that data, pushing that out as well. And and there was a very simple graph, which is at the bottom here, about how we do this. So this is how we do the content management. We develop our objectives of what we're going to do. We ask for target audience about it. So, for example, with the leadership survey that we're working on, I went to 10 leaders and said, what are the things that are concerning you at the moment? What sort of stuff do you want to read about? What's the data that's going to turn you on? It's that sort of thing. And from that, and we can all do that with our clients, doesn't have to be me, we can all do that. We develop a set of questions, we put it on Trello for feedback, we send the survey out, we gather the data, we develop 5 tips on the blog, and then we repeat with another topic. Very easy process. It's just following it and keeping it really simple. Newsletters. So we're going to plan to do one every monthly to every 6 weeks if it's of the right quality. We've got to ensure, not quality so much, we've got to ensure the theme is correct. And we want to develop content from you. For those of you who've kindly put your hands up, say, you're happy to write some stuff and not be charged a 1.5%. I do realise 1.5% of very little is very little, but I think it's the intent here and the sort of love each way that we need to show each other to support each other. We do need people to write content for us, because it does need brains and thought and time. So we are planning still to have the newsletters going out, as long as they're the relevant thing at the relevant time, which obviously is quite difficult at the moment to dictate, but that's what we'll be doing. On the website, we'll still keep improving it, so we're looking at it. We've got some capability internally. Joe's learned how to change things, which is good, so we're able to do a bit of it ourselves. And we'll be working through a number of pages every week, core pages every week, 3 or 4 pages, just tidying up, making them good. And then also on my homepage, we're looking at doing a video on the homepage about what we are and why we are, etc., etc. And now is probably quite a good time to do that, because I suspect there are people out there who would give their right arm for a bit of work. And then the new thing we're looking at is podcasts. So we're going to start planning the development of these and promote messaging for brand as specialists and promote the talent amongst the group. So this would be about me having a discussion with one of you on a CX topic, but then sometimes we might bring in a guest or a client as well. So we're working through what that might look like. And we'd probably like to develop a series of 4 to begin with, and then we'll see where it goes. So we're going to start planning that this week and next week, and then again, these were things that will drop in after the peak of the crisis is over. So we're starting to drop something new in afterwards, and a lot of that would be about how do you recover, how do you kickstart, how do you get back to where you need to be. Feedback Direct, the development we're doing on that is part of this strategy. Obviously, you all know about that, and we're aiming to get that done by the end of April. So again, that's a whole new marketing piece. So we're really up on that. And then social media. So we want to keep in front of the customers, appear to be present and caring. We're going to do centrally, we're going to post twice a week, some sort of different article, That could be the newsletter. If it isn't, then we'll write something else. So we've got a couple of things a week going out. It could be the results of the survey, but there are 2 things going out, and we'll ongoingly communicate that. So that's our central content plan. We're trying to keep things very simple, very methodical. But then what can you do? So local CXD activities through the crisis. So number 1, ensure your Google My Business is all up and running. And so we'll be looking at that in a few weeks' time to get everybody up. That helps everybody. It helps you. It gives you a local website. And it's very, very favourable. It's a good thing to be doing. We've given instructions out on this, so follow those. I'll make sure that you can find a link to those and you can see those. But I think by the end of April, we need everybody up and running, using it properly, because it can only benefit you when the sun comes up again. Secondly, increase newsletter recipients. It's amazing how often I say that to people and they go, yeah, I must do that. I really must do that. So, all right, let's get a real targeted approach on this. So your newsletter database is crucial to getting the messages out, and we want to build on this. So establish how many you have now. Go through LinkedIn, look at all your associates, look at all the businesses you work with. Are they all on your newsletter? Just think quietly who you want to get on there and invite them, and just invite them on. Just say, look, I've got a newsletter. Here's a copy of one. Would you like me to put you on your database so you get it in the future? If they know you, and there are loads of people that will know you who aren't on it. I know that from personal experience. And what we want to do is publish a little league to see how many you have now, and so we can set some targets and we can all push on, because our target here is trying to get to 5,000 in 3 months' time. That's what we'd like to do. And so if you have less than 100, we want you to try and get to 100 in the next 2 weeks. So it's not, I don't think it's hard. You know a lot of people, you network with a lot of people, just gently invite them. Otherwise, if you've got more than 100, we'd like you to increase it by 30% each month for the next 3 months. That's quite a big ask. So if you've got quite a lot, but then you've got a bigger reach. So this is about trying to just put a line in the sand and say, come on, everybody, let's just get this going. Because when we come out the other side and we start producing really good data, and with all these new initiatives, the podcast and all that, here's your database. This is a thing. The database is a thing that adds value to your business. If one day you want to sell your business and you're saying, right, what if someone comes along and says, what you got? If you say, well, I've got a database of 2,500 local business people, bang, that's dollars, that's money. So that's why you want to be doing it, as well as getting business in now, because it will help you get in business now. Number 3, increase your Google reviews on your Google My Business. So go back to your clients, go back to your researchers. Let's all get a minimum of 20 and a maximum of 100 by the end of August. If we had a minimum of 20, let's say we have an average of 50 across the whole group, it's 1,000 Google reviews across our brand. This is great stuff. This Google reviews, we know, helps with search engine optimization. We did a project before this. I spent the money on it. It didn't come out of your fund. £2,500 on a pay-per-click campaign. Not a bloody trickle. Nothing out of it. It isn't the way. We're in such a big ocean. It just doesn't. It's so difficult to do. The way we're going to do it is through organic growth. Content, newsletter recipients, Google My Business, reviews. Getting lots of reviews. So go back to your 20 best researchers, 10 best researchers, and just gently ask them, would you mind doing a review and putting it on Google? Go back to the people you know you associated with. You might not do work with them, just associate with them. Look, I'll do a review for me if you do a review for you. Just do a contra with them, and then go back to your clients and gently invite them. When you've got a minute, would you mind doing this for me? I'll be really grateful. And let's just see how many we can get, and we'll be measuring that, because I think that is one thing we can do when the tools are down. It's a great thing to get on with. So writing content, I talked about this a bit earlier, so we're going to put a bit of a plan together about content. We'd like the people in the bids and the legal and the education, we'd hopefully get some content out of that as well, and we can help. So if you give us sort of chuck stuff down, we can make it sound good and get it out and make it, appear really, really good. And we'd like one article from each of you every 2 months. That's all. One article. It's 2 hours work. It's not a lot. And that will really help. Content is what drives the stuff. This is what makes us go up Google, get us the leads, and this is what we're all about in the future. Today is the day where we start growing the acorn into the oak tree. Central team and barometer survey. So here's our opportunity to reach out to the clients and do the free surveys and reach and improve engagement. So watch the timelines. So this is the surveys that we do, then we promote it on LinkedIn, and then we remeasure, etc. I think there was a big bit of work on refocusing. So when you come up for the end of this, refocusing your core BD activity. So this is about really looking at your target clients for your 2020 list. You should have all done that from the conference last year. Build to 200 firms in your area and 20% being larger. So 20% of those should be sort of £50 million turnover businesses. And start to monitor their CX response at these times. So start having a look how they're doing it, how well they're doing it. Start engaging with them now, offering some help if they're struggling to do it well. And then batch them into size and sector and load them into Pipedrive. Pipedrive is 5% of the cost that it was. Why don't you use this time now when you've got some downtime to learn it properly? If you want us to run a training session on it, let me know. We'll get 2 or 3 of the better users in the group to do some training on it for you. Then let's start really filtering through your 100 firms that you want to get to. This is just strategic, careful, diagnostic, forensic planning, which you will win in the end because, so many people say to me, after 3 years, I finally got that business on board. Well, that's all you've done with that one business. Why don't we focus on 200 and start doing it gently and carefully through the 200? In a year, 2 years' time, you'll have a magnificent business. So we'd like you to try and get that completed and up and running in Pipedrive by the end of May. Jump on local webinars at an expert. This is something Ryan did last week. So we were talking about we're not going to do too many of our own webinars at the moment. I know we've been invited on some, and Ryan's on some, Rich is on the TM Group one. Brilliant. You're being pulled by and piggybacked by other brands. Fantastic, and they're bringing you on as an expert. Wonderful. From that, there will be opportunity, and that is the easiest way to get your profile. Costs nothing. It's just your time and you're perceived as an expert, and that's what this whole thing is about. It's the opportunity to perceive you as a CX expert. Keeping your existing customers close. So develop some one-line comms action plan for your existing clients. So have them on a wall in front of you for 8, 10 clients. Even if they're not working with you, it doesn't matter. And just think to yourself, how often are you going to communicate with them? How are you going to do that? And then how can you look after them? How can you look out for them? What are the things you can send them that make you think, yeah, the minute the sun comes up, Insight 6 are back in the budget. They're back on there straight away. If you don't do that, when it comes to the sun coming up, they're going to put someone else before you. They're going to spend money on their internet provider first before you. We don't want that. We need to start messaging pretty shortly after the peak around what messages, what are you going to now do to get yourself back and running? And slowly, they will come back on board with us. And we need to start developing that in the next week, really, to what that looks like. So start thinking about that yourself. Put your main customers down the left. Start thinking about how you're going to communicate, what methods you're going to use. So then we thought, okay, we need to have a bit of a communication plan through this crisis at all. And this is the final piece of this plan, really. So we have the daily meetings, which are becoming better and better, much better structure. This morning was Monday, and I thought it was very good. Everyone got a good input, and there's some good, nice stuff that came out of that. And the idea of this really is to ensure that you start your day on the right foot. And it gives you some structure to the day. It gets you talking to your colleagues. A number of you will carry on that conversation after 10 o'clock. A number of you will meet up afterwards for a coffee online, whatever it might be. And that's what we need. We need everybody to communicate and talk to one another. If you sit out of it, you're going to go backwards. You are not going to go forwards. So the sort of structure, round the table, 60 seconds on your yesterday. What do you learn? What are the insights from yesterday that you can bring? What did you learn yesterday? Secondly, thought for the day. So we'll have like a topic to discuss. So this morning we talked about the structure of your day. Tomorrow will be a different topic. And again, everyone puts their insights on the table, and that helps us all to develop. Thirdly, what are we doing centrally? So we'll come back and say, okay, this is what we've done yesterday. These are the things that we've learned. And then thirdly, some key action learning in any other business. So we can go around the group just saying, okay, so what did you get out of today? What was it? And what I'd like to do is, I facilitate them currently, but in a couple of days I'm going to put a plan together where we're going to ask you all to facilitate a session. So we'll have a roster in place. And the reason for this, it gives you something to think about, and it gives you some focus, and it allows you to think about the CXDs and yourself and where you're at, and etc. It's also a change of voice. You're going to get bored of me, and I think it's good to share it about, and it just pushes. It just allows me a little bit of time to do other stuff as well, which I think you'd probably hope I can do. And also, if I was to fall down, you've got that going. It's up and running already, so there's no great learning curve for anybody. a comms channel. So we've gone through this: Trello, Lucy, all the Corona stuff, Google Plus for normal ops, WhatsApp for quick news. And let's just all use the correct channels. I think it's worked wonderfully well so far. It's been really good. Hub support to ensure emergency cover. So we've put out a roster, and during those 3-hour windows, you call that number if you want something urgent. If not, you just email. But the service is not going to be as quick as normal, obviously, because my team are not working the full-time hours. So we've come to some agreement around that and how we do that. So please be patient, on surveys and things. Just allow us a little bit more time, an extra day, whatever it might be. Please, I'd be really grateful if you don't ask for stuff straight away. We've said the same on the quality check-in. I realise March is slightly different. We're trying to get all that work done so you can invoice. But going forward, it will take a little bit longer. It will, because we're trying to do it all in-house. But it'll be hopefully of high quality, and we'll all get there in the end. And then disaster recovery. If I become ill, judging by this cough, I don't know if that's good or not. We need to have a plan. And so actually what I'm going to do, I was thinking about putting a team in place, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put in like a weekly deputy. So I'm just going to roster on a deputy who during that week just oversees the meetings are the key thing. My team know what they're doing. They respond to you. But really just oversee the meetings, just check in on everybody, just make sure everybody's okay. All the things that I do offline that the conversations we have. And so I will be putting a bit of a roster together on that in the next little while. And I'll be doing that tomorrow. So you'll see a list, and hopefully you'll all agree to do that. And that should take, if you all do a week, that will take us through 26 weeks, which is actually half the year. So I don't think I'll be that ill. Or if I am and I don't come back, then you're all right for half a year anyway. I've had a good life. Anyway, that's it really for me. I hope, I listened last week to what you were saying. Hopefully this really goes some way to help you see a way forward. If I think always refer back to the plan. So look at these things here. Look at the 8 points we make here about your activity. Put a big tick at the end when you're done and put them up on your wall. And this stuff is crucial to going forward. And then we never have to repeat it again. It just becomes natural. You're naturally getting your reviews. You're naturally getting your new newsletter. But let's focus in on that stuff. I mean, essentially, you can see what we're doing. You can see what we're trying to work on with a very, very limited budget. And bless Helen, she's doing a lot of work for us, for love. And Helen, I do appreciate it hugely. So that's where we're at. And I hope that helps you, as indeed it's helped me put it together. So thank you for your feedback, and keep it going. Feedback, please, whatever you like. Excellent. Thank you.